I looked at the system messages that appeared after Myeongil-sang's death. He left this world with just a few lines of messages. Constellation, prisoner of the Golden Headband, is satisfied. The Constellation Secret Plotter nods with slight discontent. The Constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire is greatly pleased with your story. Someone has recommended your scenario to the Star Stream. 25,000 coins have been sponsored. I got up, slowly looked around. Gundong-gu was ruined. The disaster had only briefly passed, but the ground was destroyed and the tall buildings collapsed. On the road lit by the glow of the sunset, people covered with black dust crawled out. They were all people who ran here to obtain the items. People who wanted to be the protagonists, but had to remain as characters. Some people had their injuries, while others wiped their tears. I could also see people bowing down to me. However, most people were lying on the ground as cold bodies. I had read all of Ways of Survival. I understood the settings, the meaning of the explanations, and finally thought that I figured out the author's intentions. But in Ways of Survival, there were no sentences describing these deaths. I turned and saw Yu Jong-uk watching the same scene as me. Perhaps Yu Jong-uk had seen this scene alone many times. Yu Jong-uk. He turned to look at me. I rolled the words around the tip of my tongue for a bit before shutting my mouth. It's nothing. The scenarios would continue in the future, and I would see this moment many times. I would encounter scenes that weren't expressed in the text several times. A translucent window appeared in front of me, and I heard an unexpected message. The Dokja has invited you to his channel. Who is inviting me to a channel? I was confused for a moment, but decided to ignore it. And a message flashed again. The Dokja has invited you to his channel. I looked up to the air and saw one Dokja looking down at the side. It was a one-legged Dokja with an unpleasant smile. Byung was behind him with a terrible expression and looked between us. There was a gap even among Dokjis of the same rank. Yeah, I had a rough idea of this situation. I took a deep breath and deliberately spoke in a loud voice. What? You won't give me the rewards? Dokja's eyebrows twitched at my words. However, his mouth was still relaxed. Oh, of course. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Dokja was a scary Dokja. He wasn't silly like Bihung, but had a different constitution from the intermediate Dokjis. Not just anyone could be the streamer of a major channel. The sub-scenario SSS grade hunt has ended. The compensation settlement will begin. You obtained 50,000 coins as compensation. I felt better when I received a huge number of coins. The scenario gave me 50,000 coins in one go. It was a great scenario. Given the fact that sub-scenarios were formed at the discretion of the Dokjis, most of these coins would come from Dokjak's pocket. I thought his stomach would hurt, but Dokja was smiling softly. It's a great pleasure to see interesting stories. How can I not be amused? He muttered like he read my mind. Well, he had a big channel in Tokyo Dome, so this level of coins being bled wouldn't matter. Why did he leave Japan now? Chances were high that great players like Oda Nobunaga or Miyamoto Musashi would still be active. Yes. Was he full because the incarnations in his house were so busy? Then give me the extra compensation quickly. Is this all? Of course. I should naturally give it to you. You are the one who made this scenario interesting. I suddenly became angry at a sarcastic tone. If it wasn't for this bastard, the disaster questions would have been a lot easier. Byung glanced at me from behind and communicated with me. Hey, you know... However, Dokja interrupted Byung before his words could be conveyed. Byung, prepare the compensation. Byung made a surprised and angry sound. Huh? Prepare the compensation. Do I have to tell you twice? Look at this. Byung hesitated before opening his mouth again. You're currently in charge of the sub-scenario. How interesting, Byung. You dare act like this in front of the incarnations? A fierce aura started to crush Byung's body. The power of a Dokja depended on the size of the channel. It seems to be true that the size of your channel has grown lately. Byung shrank back as Dokja kept talking. No, it's a misunderstanding. You do know that the sixth scenario involves Korea and Japan together. Have you already forgotten? I'm really sorry. I'll prepare it right away. Get started right away. Yes. I didn't feel good because Byung was the one managing my channel. To be honest, Byung and Dokja's relationship seemed similar to how Song Min-woo bothered me during high school. Additional compensation settlement will begin. You've acquired Parasite Species Benefactor as a basic reward. An additional selection reward exists. You are the larger contributor to this scenario. You have the first choice of additional compensation. I saw a translucent catalog appear in front of me. Once again, it was quite useful to catch a disaster. Infinite Dimension Space Code, SSS grade. Darkfire half gloves, SSS grade. Sylphied's jump boots, SSS grade. Triple S grade compensation items. I quickly looked at the options of these items. The Infinite Dimension space coat had a special option of a inside pocket space that allowed to carry many things. Darkfire half gloves greatly amplified skills with the dark and fire attributes. Finally, Sylphied's jump boots allowed me to use the jump effect 3 times a day. They weren't star relics, but it was enough to go to the 10th scenario. People might say, it is SSS grade, but it's only up to the 10th scenario? But the World of Ways of Survival was originally like this. The item grade inflation was substantial in the World of Ways of Survival. The difference in performance of the items attained early stages to the middle stages was huge, despite having the same grade. Of course, it wasn't necessary to throw away SSS grade items now, but special materials would be needed to transcend equipment. This is why it was good to have star relics. Unlike other items, star relics didn't need transcendence. Once scenarios opened, the star relics would recover their inherent power that was beyond the constraints of probability. Please choose a reward, Byung told me with a grouchy expression. He was exhausted by the harassment. At this moment, I heard Byung through the Dokja communication. Personally, I recommend the Infinite Dimension space coat. There's one more hidden option. It's easier to transcend later. He was working as my manager. The quick-witted Dokja was staring at Byung. Byung? Yes? You must explain the items to the constellations. Have you forgotten? I understand. Byung quickly started to explain the items to the constellations of Seoul Dome. I used this break to talk to Yu Jonguk. Yu Jonguk, what are you going to choose? I had first choice, but I decided to give it to Yu Jonguk since I received his help. Of course, this was if Yu Jonguk didn't hit me into the ground. Yu Jonguk? He didn't answer. He was just staring at me. Did you pass out again? I waved my hand in front of his eyes several times, but his pupils didn't change. The character Yu Jonguk is currently using Recovery Hibernation Level 3. Indeed, it was abnormal for him to move with that body. His body must be half broken to be able to use Recovery Hibernation. I couldn't just pick, so I left a message with Midday Tryst. Hanseung watched my side and interrupted. Perhaps I should choose instead? Only if you want to be hit by Yu Jonguk later. Hanseung became silent in an instant. I spoke to Byung. I'll choose the Infinite Dimension space coat. However, the answer didn't come from Byung. Dokja nodded and turned off the catalog with a flick of his fingers. You picked a good item, and let's go to the payment area. Payment area? The additional compensation can't be paid here. Look at this. Where are you going to take me? I'll take you to my Dokja official post. The Dokja official post. In folk tales, it was a type of clothing, but here it was different. It was a room that all Dokjis had. It was a room that hid their true colors. That's a problem. Just give it to me here. It was their unique space. I didn't know what to expect. As far as I knew, there's no procedure regarding moving to a Dokja's official post in order to receive additional compensation. It was obviously this guy's suggestion to go to his official post. Byung was watching me anxiously from next to him. I watched Dokja with narrowed eyes. Do you want me to cancel the additional compensation? Try it. The snare's compensation was a fixed rule of the star stream. Even a sub-scenario made with a Dokja's discretion couldn't take back an item that was given after the scenario was over. A smile flashed on Dokjak's face. How interesting. This isn't a good idea. Dokja communication. As Dokja opened his mouth, 2 voices were heard. Kim Dokja, I've heard your story. You're so famous that the constellations of the lands beyond the peninsula know about you. I know about your contract with Dokja Byung. But among the Dokjis, it's possible to transfer incarnations. I heard that you act proudly in front of the Dokjis, and today I've discovered that the rumor isn't false. I'll speak bluntly. Come to my channel. I'm going to expand my channel to the Korean peninsula. I'll be happy to meet your desired items and conditions. Interesting. He made a scouting proposal in this manner. The suggestion from Dokja could be seen as moving from a team in the Asian League to a top team from La Liga. It was an attractive offer. The problem was the transfer. I knew this guy called Dokja. I might look like this, but I'm actually really scared. I'm trembling while talking to you like this, so give me the item quickly. Dokja's expression hardened at my words. How interesting. You're humble. You're too arrogant. You'll be humbled one day. What does that mean? Byung's channel will soon disappear. Laughter emerged from Dokja's mouth. And it can't be helped. I originally wanted to announce this after paying the compensation, but I'm sorry. An announcement? What announcement? Dokja looked at the sky. He looked at the constellations emitting light and slowly opened his mouth. His voice seemed to echo in all of Seoul. I have regrettable news for all the constellations who have watched this scenario with interest so far. The low-grade Dokkaebis quickly withdrew from Bi-hyung's vicinity. Bi-hyung made a bewildered expression. It wasn't good whenever the Dokkaebis acted like this. Unfortunately, among the channels operating in Seoul Dome, there is a channel that has been illegally manipulating the scenarios. Many constellations are paying attention to Dogok's words. It is the BI-7623 channel of Dokkaebi Bi-hyung. As a result of a survey, the low-grade Dokkaebis in Seoul Dome have concluded that a probability has been infringed due to the excessive channel scenario manipulation. Wait, what? On behalf of the low-grade Dokkaebis of Seoul Dome, I am formally asking the Bureau to determine the probability conformity of this channel.